So I've been privileged that in my very short career as a farmer, I've had the ability and the experience to work with breeder chickens, number one, commercial birds, dual purpose birds, and local chickens. Of course, that's nothing. And in today's video, I'm here to tell you that you need to start rearing local chickens. And here is why. Hi guys, welcome back to Farm Up. My name is Dr. Daniel, a retired or non-practicing medical doctor. Well, I gave up on medical practice to pursue my passions in poultry farming. And on this channel, Farm Up, I teach you and inspire you in everything to do with farming. On the farm, currently, we have lots and lots and lots of animals, yeah? We have chickens, we have over 20,000 chickens on the farm. We have geese, we have guinea fowls, we have over 700 goats and sheep, and we have over 150 heads of cattle. And yeah, of course, we do have bees too for honey. So if you're looking for a place to learn farming from, come on, you're in the right place. I'll give you everything that you need and give you inspiration. And if you're interested enough, come on, why not subscribe to the channel? So if you want to never miss out on any of these, just hit that subscribe button, smash the notification bell, that way you never miss out on an upload. So I managed to keep local birds for quite some time, and I can tell you that they have lots and lots and lots of advantages. Lots of reasons why you need to keep them. And starting out, they can be kept in really cheap housing. The thing with local birds is that all you need is a place for them to stay and a place with aeration. That's all you need. They're not, they don't stress. They're like, any local that you'll find over there. Meanwhile, you might be wondering, what are local birds? Well, local chickens are the chickens that are indigenous of the place where you live. If you're South African, then local chickens are your South African indigenous birds. If you're from Uganda like me, your local chickens are the ones that are indigenous of your area. Now, I also know that there are different breeds of indigenous birds, even depending where you live. For example, here in Uganda, if you move up north, you look and find that the local chickens look completely different from the local chickens found in the central area. You'll find them, they look a bit skinnier, but they have really tall, huge legs. Their build is completely different. In some areas, you'll find them and they are short and pumped. So it really depends on where you live. So the birds that are indigenous of where you are, those are local chickens. And because, over time, they have adapted from living in trees. When we had just moved to this farm, the local birds that were living here, were living on trees. Guys, they were living on trees. In the night, they would just go and, climb up onto trees and sleep. And they were reproducing. And they didn't need shelter. If rain falls, it would hit them. The sunshine would hit them. Of course, they would look for shade somewhere, but they really don't give a damn. So as long as you have some form of shelter, trust me, local chickens are going to live in there. You can see the house that we are in right now. It's a very good one. Don't mistake me, but it's not like the best standard, yeah? It's built out of iron sheet. We didn't concrete the floor, but we are keeping birds inside here. So local chickens, trust me, they can live anywhere. And if you're starting out and you don't have lots of money, you don't have money to build a proper, up to standard chicken house, local chickens are a good option because they'll be like, hey, you've got us a roof, let's live here. Number two, which is not so far away from number one, they can adapt to any situation as long as it's from that area. Sunshine, rainfall, they will handle it. You see, if, for example, you got local chickens from the US, let's say from Canada, and you brought them over here, they would never survive. It would get too hot for them. They would have a problem adapting to the heat because it gets really hot. Currently, it's really hot and it's humid, so it feels very uncomfortable. The local chickens over here, they can handle it properly. And if you got our birds over here and you took them to Canada, they would die in the winter. 100% die, because that's not something that they're used to. But the local birds, indigenous of that area, they will adapt to anything. They have genetically, suited themselves to adapt to that area. And so you don't need to give them special care. During winter, for example, if you had birds, if you're in Canada and it's winter, you don't need to really warm your birds up. They can handle the cold. They lived before you guys decided to start warming them up, so they can handle. Something I keep telling people over here, sometimes people will complain and they're like, this kind of house, you see, it's really open on the sides, yeah? Really open. So if it's cold, the wind just comes in, everything. And they're like, hey, what's wrong? You need to close it up because it might get really cold. I'm like, hey, these things have feathers. Chickens have feathers and they have adapted. They know how to live with cold. Honestly, birds live up on trees and the rain hits them every day. They never die. So they have feathers, they just know how to live. Point number 3, and usually the reason most people go for the local birds, they look for food themselves. Yeah, they look for food themselves. Now, the thing that I've learned with a lot of the other types of birds, for example, if you got broilers, commercial broilers, or commercial layers, they are lazy birds. My God. They will not go outside and start chasing a rat. Local chickens will chase a rat. They will chase a butterfly. They will chase anything, yeah? Because that's who they are. So local chickens look for their food themselves. You don't need to spend a lot of money trying to buy them feed. You see, inside this house that I'm in the background, I see you guys can see some red and yellow stuff, yeah? Those are feeders and drinkers. Now, in this exact house, before we were keeping dual purpose birds, yeah? And these are really, really good birds, but they also do need to feed. They need to be fed, you know, occasionally with commercial feed or particular types of feed that you need to look for yourself, maybe from the garden or something like that. But local chickens, they can live 100% on their own. They will go and eat grass. They will scratch on the soil and look for worms. They will scratch everywhere. They look for all kinds of vegetation. They will look for all kinds of insects. They can feed themselves and you don't need to give them food. Actually, you can close your home in the morning, let them move outside, go and work. In the evening at about 5 or 6 p.m., you come back, open, and they come in. Same story each and every day. And they will grow and you'll sell them and make money out of them. So that's a really, really nice thing about them. Number 4, they really have ready market. Now, if you're in a country like Uganda over here, sometimes you might have issues selling broilers, you know. A time could reach when you don't have a ready buyer for your broilers. And if you don't have a freezer where you can freeze the meat, the chicken, and then keep it for some time, you're in trouble because the birds are going to keep eating and the person who's going to buy, they're not going to give you more money because you've fed the birds for longer. No. Same thing with the layers. Sometimes the price of an egg drops really, really, really low. Or sometimes no one wants to buy the eggs, so you can stay with them for quite some time. The thing with the local chickens, though, is that you can never keep them for long enough. Why? Because the demand is high. Not too many people can manage keeping them. Not lots of people keep them. So if you do decide to keep them and you actually do it successfully, hey, my God, you're in money. Like, there are lots of people hunting for them everywhere because most of them are organic, you know, the broilers, you know, and the layers. A lot of them are not organic because people need to vaccinate them. They give them chemicals in their feed. Well, not terrible chemicals. Chemicals are... Human beings eat chemicals. Soda is a chemical, like really, yeah? But they give them vaccines. Vaccines are chemicals, yeah? They are chemicals. But there are people who have a problem with that. Honestly, I'm pro-vaccination. I have no problem with vaccination. But there are people who do, and so such people will be looking for the local birds because most of the time they won't be vaccinated. Most of the time they won't be given any medication. They won't be given any feeds that have any form of chemicals. So they are on high demand. And if you do manage to keep them, come on. You have market for them, ready market. Number 5, they are very, very easy to raise. And of course, that's a combination of all the factors I've talked about in the past. Number 1, the housing is very easy. So you don't need to construct something complicated. Number 2, they don't need too much care. They can adapt to anything. You don't need to warm them up. You don't need to cool them up. They will just handle themselves. Number 3, they will look for food themselves. You don't need to babysit them. Number 4, you can start with no knowledge at all, completely no knowledge. And then you can learn how to keep them in a very, very short time because honestly, what do you have to learn? Nothing big, you know, a few practices of how to deal with them once they start laying chicks, and then how to deal with the chicks once the chicks come. But the good thing is that they are local chickens, so they will be able to brood their own chickens. They'll be able to look after their chicks. So you don't need to think about things like, you know, warming the birds, brooding the birds, giving the day-old chicks things like vitamins or anything complicated. No, they will handle themselves. So they are very, very easy to raise. Honestly, any kind of novice can raise local chickens. And then you can start really, really small and grow. With local chickens, you don't need to start with 100 or 200. I'll give you an example. For broilers, you need maybe 50 or 100 birds. It doesn't make sense for you to keep 2 broilers, you know. What money are you going to make out of them? You can't. You might not even be able to sell them, honestly. So you need particular numbers, yeah? Because you're going to buy for them feed commercially, vaccines. It doesn't make sense for you to buy vaccines for 2 birds. That will be too expensive for you. Same thing with layers. It doesn't make sense for you to, you know, raise maybe 10 layers unless it's for your own feeding, you know, the commercial layers, unless you just want eggs for you to consume at home. But if it's not that, it just doesn't make sense, because you're going to be collecting 9 eggs every day. How long will you take to make a tray? That's 30 eggs. And by the time you make a tray, you're keeping the eggs in a warm place. After a short time, they'll already be going bad. But for local chickens, you can start with 2, a male and a female. They reproduce, those reproduce, more reproduce. And in a short time, you have a number, because you're not spending anything really in raising them. So they are very, very good for training. For someone who wants to learn how to do poultry, you start with very few, start with 2, start with 4, start with 1, and you grow the number, and then you'll be able to reproduce and become really big. Now, of course, don't be naive and think that there are no negative sides to raising local chickens. Yeah, of course, there are negative sides, and you need to think about those too. So actually, together with this video, I put up another video telling you why you should not keep local chickens. Just watch the 2 videos, compare the 2 sides, and then you'll make up your mind which of the 2 videos you'll go with, whether you should keep local chickens or not keep local chickens. I'll leave the link to that video right here, so just click on it. That way you can watch the other side of the story. Otherwise, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. That way you never miss out on an upload. Lots of love. Bye-bye.